So LinkedIn has just your organic, I can reach out to Rob and say, hey, you want to be friends or whatever, and he can accept or not. And right. And so there's that. And then there is LinkedIn ads where you're running targeted ads. There's retargeting on LinkedIn. And then there's Sales Navigator. So the reality is I don't have a set of definitive metrics because there's so many different ways to use LinkedIn and the variable of how you're using it. So for example, let's say somebody's a LinkedIn spammer and all they do is just sit there and do connection requests, right? Their numbers are going to look abysmal. Their account might get throttled. And when your account gets throttled, what that means is you can no longer connect with anybody unless you have their email address that matches up to whatever that person has in their LinkedIn account. So that could cause problems. So you've got those people, and then you've got people who are very careful and intentional. Like we use LinkedIn for just general posting. So like, for example, I have the company page, I have my personal page. I post to my personal LinkedIn no less than 2 times a week, often 3 times a week. And that's just generic organic posts. And the thing you have to understand with LinkedIn and Facebook is less than 1% of all your connections will actually see your post. In fact, Facebook's the worst. The last data I saw is only 0.4% of all of your Facebook friends will actually see your post. And that is because LinkedIn's a little better, but it's not by much. It's not like 2%. I think it's like maybe 1% or something like that. And I think actually LinkedIn has the highest organic reach. And the reason is because LinkedIn and Facebook and Google, for that matter, are not incentivized to popularize your posts. They are money machines and they want you to advertise or buy Sales Navigator in order for them to make money. I mean, so Facebook does not want, so I have my personal page and I have a TMT business page, and I have a Robin Robbins business page. And the Robin Robbins business page has my face, my name. It doesn't look like a company page, although it says entrepreneur. I think it's the style of page. And I can post the same post on both of them. My personal page will get far more engagement than my business. Why is that? Well, I can't say for sure because I don't work at Facebook or LinkedIn, but it's like Facebook signals this is a business page, and therefore we're going to suppress people seeing this because we want Robin to buy ads. Where on my personal page, I can't run ads off my personal page, right? So they don't care if that just happens to bubble up. Great, if it, So the problem with LinkedIn is I don't have definitive. Here's the percentages. Okay, now what I can tell you though is in all direct response marketing, you're always working in tiny percentages. So like a 1% to 2% response rate to any kind of overall marketing is considered very good. So like if you're reaching out, I don't know what, see again, like if I say connection requests, well, are you only connecting with people you know, which would give you a different percentage than if you're just connecting with everybody every Tom, Dick, and Harry that looks like they could give you money, right? Well, depending on what approach you're taking, or a mixed approach, where it's some people we know and some people, like the percentages are going to be different. Just like email, like if I email my Producers Club members, I'm going to get a 40-50% open rate. I'm going to get 10-20% click-through rates. If I email my prospect list, which are unconverted leads, I'm going to get maybe an 18 to 20% open rate and maybe a 1 to 2% click-through. Could be the same email with the same offer from the same org. So I hear what you're saying, but I just don't have any numbers that, without getting really granular into what you're doing, to say it's good. But again, in general, in direct response marketing, a 1% response to 2% response is considered very, very, very good. So the first kind of response is how many people accept your request. That's number one, right? The second metric would be when you reach out to them, however, whatever that message is, what percentage then respond to it, right? And you might find it's less than 1% on that. Again, it depends on who you're talking to, just those factors. So Rob, I don't know, do you think that answered it, or do you have
Yeah, I think
thoughts?
so. I also think, you want to, I mean, one of the parts of that comment there is you're not getting much in the way of likes or comments and all that. That's an area to focus on right there. Like, what are you posting? Is there something you could do that's more engaging? Or there's some kind of polls, or what is the content, and how are you, that's obviously the most blatant, glaring one that you could measure. But if you know that that's low, you could focus some energy there too to see if,
It
you
takes a
know,
while. And
how
here's
you
what I will tell
manipulate
you.
that over.
It takes a while. So like I have 22,400 followers on LinkedIn. Those are people who are following me, not connections. Those are people who have clicked follow. I mean, so they have to take that action. Okay. So if I look at then my posts, right? Let me just kind of look at my latest post. I mean, there's like what you see with posts, they don't, you see some engagement and it will tell you how many viewed it, right? So like typically my posts are getting somewhere between 1,700 to 3,000 impressions. Okay, so 22,000, so you can see it's like maybe 10% is maybe, and the impression doesn't mean they actually saw it, just means it came up in their feed, you know what I mean, and they scrolled right past it as they ignored me, right? So so you've got your impressions, but like, I'll give you an example. I have a post that got 3,000 impressions and only 89 people reacted, thumbs, some kind of reaction, and only 16 comments. So so I have 22,400 followers. One of my most successful posts got over 3,000 impressions. And out of that 89, so what is 89? So like if we say from 89 divided by 3,012, that is a what, 2% response rate, right? 89 divided by 3,000. I wish I could do math in my head. Yeah, it's like 2.93%. Okay. So that's pretty good, right? That was like one of my most successful posts. And then if I look, there's other things that I post, where here's one that I had 4,360 impressions and only 5 comments. So you have to understand, a very, very tiny percentage of all the people following you will see it. And a very, very tiny percentage, I'm talking like 1%, maybe like on the one, I had 3%. I would say, that's exceptional. 3% or less are going to comment, which is kind of what I was just saying in direct response marketing. 1 to 2% is considered pretty good. Anything above that, man, you're crushing it. Might not feel like it, but that's the way it is. Now, the other thing I will tell you on LinkedIn that I do get a lot of play on, and we're continuing to get a lot of play on, is I have my newsletter. I have my company TMT newsletter. Let me share my screen real quick. So this is TMT is my company page. It's not my personal profile, right? And if I go down here, if you click on newsletters, one of the things that we've been doing is posting Robin's rant. So every week, like it's due to be like 1 week ago. So today's the day we typically post on Wednesday. So Wednesday today will be, my rant will be posted. And what I do is I take that rant that I write for MSP Success Magazine and we post it up here. And what it does is it will, LinkedIn will email people who are subscribed to this and say, hey, there's a new article. And that email is really important because LinkedIn, the one thing that LinkedIn used to have is in LinkedIn groups, when you could post once a week a notice and it would email everybody in that group, hey, go look at this. And they stopped doing this. And now it just kind of puts up these little notifications here, like, you click on this and it'll say, blah, blah. So it does that now, and it's totally lost its juice and its power. But if you go and you do that newsletter, LinkedIn actually does now email everybody subscribed to that. And we have been posting, let me see here. Let me go, whoops, let me go down, not events, clicked on the wrong thing. If I go down to newsletters, I'm up to 5,500 followers on TMT. I have close to 2,000 subscribers, and every week that ticks up. And that was after posting 42 rants. So, not even a full year, but you have to be consistent, and the content has to be really good, because that's what you want. You want where people are reading it and staying engaged. And so that's all the social media, folks. The more entertaining, engaging you can be, the more people will comment, like, and ultimately what you want is them to share your content, right? Now it's kind of interesting, because if I want you guys to share my content, what I do is I could post something on how stupid you are if you don't buy cybersecurity or something like that. Then you're gonna yeah, all my clients need to see this. Listen to Robin, right? So, but that doesn't, like in my content, most MSPs don't share my content with other MSPs. It's just, it's kind of weird.